Hello everyone, this hour on Verbling, the next in my Speaking Skills series. We're doing Speaking Skills class number 14, and in each of these classes we will develop one topic or one skill related to a topic that you need to develop for your work and for your life. We'll do it in a practical and simple way. More about that in just a second. First, a little bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour, and I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out from Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. And here are 3 quick rules to help you participate in my class. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means please turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom quiet. Tune in to the new vocabulary that you learn and use it actively so that I can correct you. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. Okay, so that's a little bit about me, and now I want to know a little bit about you. Let's say a quick hello to Shafar. Hello, Shafar. How are you?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
How about you?
I'm all right. Shafar, let me tell you how we're going to do this today. We're going to develop some speaking skills, and we're going to start off using some pictures to, as a way to talk about a theme. But our main goal is to listen to your answers and to give you some suggestions for vocabulary or ways you can structure your answer. So this is a good way to develop a skill for a test or just improving your vocabulary. So what I'm going to do is give you a link in the chat window. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to share my screen with you too, but I'm also going to give you a link to our document so you can download it or you can look at it directly on your computer if you want. There's your link in the chat window. And I'm going to share my screen with you as well. Take a look here on screen. And first, let me go to the top of the document. Okay, so our shared notes are on this Google document called Speaking Skills. And that's page 1.
I don't find
and let me
that.
Sorry?
Where's the link?
So I will share my screen so you can look at the document.
Okay.
But you can also open it by going to the chat window and clicking on that link that I posted. You can open it on your computer, you can download it, or you can just look at the screen. Either way.
Okay.
Let me go back here for a moment. So in the document, on page 2, you have my contact information. You have a table of all the classes we've done in the series. And look at this one today. I'm going to update it. And you'll see, I'm going to put this in yellow so you can see it. Today's class is the one in yellow that says May 21st, class 14. So you can click on that or just go down to page 4 and you'll be on today's class and you'll see the pictures that we're going to use. Okay? So that's where our material is. Let's figure out the best way to do this. What I'm going to do, let me get my face back on screen for a minute. Let's see if you can see me. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everyone a few questions based on the picture. You're going to come up with answers, and you can use the picture to help you decide what to say. Let me go to my questions, for example. We're going to do this in 3 parts. The reason I want to do this in 3 different parts or sections is because I want to familiarize you with what it's like to take an international test if you haven't done it, like the TOEIC or the TOEFL or the CPE or the CAE or the FCE or the BEC, any of these international tests, because they're very similar. So we're going to do it in a very similar way. So part one, I will ask you a few questions about yourself or everyday topics about, for example, work, study, travel, entertainment. Just a few questions to make a polite conversation. That's usually what happens when you go into an oral exam. In part two, depending on how much time we have, we might only do part one and two. But in part two, you're going to look at a series of pictures which show people in different situations. You're going to have to compare pictures and talk about the pros and the cons, or the benefits of what you see in the pictures. And there I'll give you some vocabulary and some key expressions that you can use. Probably that's all the time we'll have in this particular class. Okay? So we'll see how far we get. But let's begin. So, and I'm also going to share my screen. The problem is I can't share my screen and see you. So I'm going to ask everyone to open the document on their computer. And that way I can take notes but still see you. And then I'll share my screen when we go over the answers together. Okay? All right. So let's get started. First of all, I want everyone to do a super quick introduction of themselves, just like the one that I'm going to do right now. If I were going to introduce myself, I would say, "Hi everyone, my name's Jon-Eric. I'm an American teacher from New York, but I live in Lisbon, Portugal, where I teach, and I've been teaching for more than 10 years to people of all ages and all over the world, online and in a classroom, and I'm really interested in using new technology to help further educational practice." So, in a nutshell, I'm an American from New York who likes technology and teaching. What about you? So there's my short introduction. I gave a little history, and I told a little bit of something about my interests. So Shafar, I'd like you to do a similar introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Ulia Safar. I am from Indonesia, and now currently I live in South Sulawesi, which is it's called city Parepare.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm interested in learning English because it refers me to know many people out there and many culture. And whatever my hobbies are, play football and mm, maybe things like that.
Good, good.
And
That's good. That's good enough. That's good enough, Shafar. And then, and the last thing you should do is just summarize the most important thing, the thing that you want people to remember. In my summary, I said so in a nutshell. I could say so to summarize. I could say so in conclusion.
okay.
As long as I begin with so. What's the thing we should remember about you?
Mm. Like okay, maybe so I I can tell you that I love mm, superhero movies.
Very good, very good.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
I would just add one thing far. I would add, because it's a summary, so you have to repeat some things you said. I would say, by the way, you said you live where right now? You said in Laos?
In Pare.
Pari Pari.
Pare. Yes.
Okay, very good. And where you're from originally? Because it's a little hard to hear you. Hello?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Indonesia. Pari Pari. Okay, got it. I can see it now. Yes, it's a little hard to hear. Your connection's a little bit difficult. Okay. So listen, in your summary, let me share my screen with you, because what I want to show you, Shafar, the introduction was fine, but let me show you something. These are the things, these are the topics that you touched on. You can see on the screen, name, where from. These are the things that you talked about. Currently live, what I do, my interests, and then okay. So you should probably add, just repeat the most important things in addition to superhero movies, right? So you might want to say, so to sum up, and then you could add where you're from, what you do, and what you're interested in. So to sum up, I'm an Indonesian. I'm an Indonesian currently living in Paris, Paris, with a strong interest in learning English and superhero movies. Whatever you think is the most important, but make sure you're not adding new information at the end. You're basically just repeating something, the thing that you want us to remember afterwards. Here's one more thing I'd like to do. You see these categories that I put for you. You can think about those categories. But what I also want to do is I want you to think of some key expressions you can use. So what I'm going to do is create a little map for you, and I can share it with you after class. On the screen right now, you should see a blank page. It says New Mind Map. And I think what I'm going to do here is, let's see what's the best way I can do this. I'm going to put here the word connector. Actually, let's put English connectors. I want you to think about not just the vocabulary, not just what you want to say, but also how you can structure what you want to say, how you can say things with the beginning, middle, and end that's very clear. Okay? So for example, the one we looked at right now is a conclusion. Hold on, let's see if I can, there we go. Is a conclusion. Here's what I'm going to do, actually. I'm probably going to change this map later, but for now I'm going to make it really simple. Conclusion. Whoops. My software is not working the way I want it to. Hold on a second. Add sibling, enter, and insert. Oh, okay. Different. Sorry for all the noise in the background. There's a little bit of bad weather here. There we go. That's what I'm going to do. Notice, I'm always going to begin with so. Just about always begin with so. So, in a nutshell. So, to sum up. So, to conclude. So right now, in our little, right now in our little mind map, sorry, I know this is a little bit small, but I'll make a better copy later. But for now, I'm just taking some notes as we talk. Right now, we have a good way to conclude. Using so, and any of those expressions will sound good, sounds like a native speaker. I'm going to give you another suggestion for how to begin your talk. Here's one way you could begin. You could give a little bit of context. Context is the information people need to know to understand what you're going to say. The background, we might say. So here's an example. When you're about to speak, the first word out of your mouth is usually, well. What can you say after well to give a little bit of information about yourself? Whoops, don't want to erase it. Hold on. Well, I should start by saying, well, to begin with, well, just to, well, let, oh, that should say, not they. Okay. And I'm going to add one more category here. By the way, I'm not saying that you have to follow this. This is not a prescription. This is just a suggestion to help you start to think about structure. So remember, context is the extra information people need to know in order to understand what you're going to say. The conclusion is usually a summary of the most important thing, the thing that people should remember the most out of what you just said, because people won't remember everything. Let me give you one more suggestion about structure. Let's call this, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say transition. Transitioning, I'll say. Let's put it like that. When you start to talk about your ideas, you need to connect things together. You need to make clear transitions. So I'm going to give you one kind of transition that's very common, which is adding information. Here's an example, and then we're going to go to the next person and see if you can use some of these to your introduction. Here's an example, adding information. Obviously, the basic word is going to be and. But I want to give you another suggestion, which which native speakers say, and it's not so obvious to non-native speakers. If you use any kind of a conditional words, if you use any kind of a conditional word in English, it usually sounds good to add information or to give an opinion. Here are the ones I mean. For example, would, could, should, whoops, hold on a second. I erased my could. Would, could, should, might. And then whatever else you're going to say. So let's go back to what Shafar said for a second. Let's look at the map and see how it would sound. Basically to say what he said. You could begin by saying, well, I should start by saying, actually, let me see. I wanted to take a look at the first thing you said. Maybe I should use myself as an example rather than Shafar, because you know what? I don't know much about you, Shafar. Hang on a second. Let me see my notes. So you said you're in Pari Pari now, right, Shafar? Is that where you're from originally? Have you lived there all your life?
Yes, this my original. I'm the native of Pare Pare.
Okay, very good. Well, so let me use a different example then. Because if we use a context, we have to give extra information. So let me use myself as an example. Maybe it's easier. Obviously, although I live in Portugal, I am not Portuguese. I'm American. So some extra information about me to make what I'm going to say clear would be the fact that I moved here. So my context could be, well, I should start by saying, although I live in Europe, I'm actually not European. I'm an American. And I came here because I wanted to live in a different place and get to know a different culture. So that might be a little bit of extra information which is important to know before I talk about the other things. So that would be an example of context. So I could say, well, to begin with, although I'm not European, I live in Europe, specifically in Portugal. Well, just to start, although I'm not Portuguese, I live in Portugal. I'm an American teacher, blah, 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 right? So that gives a little bit of background. So that might be a good way to begin. Now for the transitions, I have would, could, should, and might. All I need to add is would, could, or should, or might to any other expression, and I can introduce a new point very easily. It sounds a little better than just saying and. For example, I could say, I could also point out that I've been teaching for more than well over 10 years. I should say that I'm interested in new technology as it relates to teaching, because I think that new technology is more accessible than ever before and can improve pedagogy in a way that is innovative, interesting, and engaging. So there, I used two modal verbs, would, could, should, or might, and I just added an expression. I could, the expression I used there was, whoops, I could point out. I should also add. I might say as well. So all of these are under the adding information transition. Basically, any new point you want to bring up, add a modal verb. Modal verbs are would, could, should, might, and there's others. And one of those expressions, and it'll sound pretty natural. And then finally, at the conclusion, I just need to say the things that I want people to remember out of all the information I gave. Here's my example. So, in a nutshell, I'm an American teacher from New York, living in Portugal, who really likes educational technology. And that might be all people need to remember for now. That's what I'll leave them with. Okay. So now that you know now that you know what to talk about and you know more or less how to connect it together, I'd like each of you to try one of these short introductions, and you can use this map to help you. So remember, the categories we talked about so far in just the first part of our speaking skills task, we got two parts, but the first part were these. Mention your name, mention where you're from, perhaps mention where you live, particularly if you've moved, where you currently live, if it's different from where you're from, perhaps mention what you do, and say something at the end about your interests, and then summarize the main points. And then think about that map to give you some idea of how to connect it together. It might be a good idea to take a few notes here first, and then I'll put the map on screen, and then you try it, okay? So, let me put the map back on screen, and let's go to our next victim. Who's going to be our next victim? Is it going to be Eric? Let's see if I can get my map back on screen. Eric, where are you from?
Hello everyone, I'm from, although I live in Belgium, I'm not an European. I'm originally from the Congo, which is a big country in the center of Africa. And
very good.
yeah.
Let me just get my map back on screen. My Google Hangout is not working. Hold on a second. See if I can, because right now you're just seeing my screen, and I want you to see those expressions. By the way, your introduction was good so far. Just give me 1 second to get the prompts back on screen. Hold on, almost there, almost. This is the problem with Google Hangouts, is that they keeps breaking. 1 second, Eric, hold on. All right, I cannot get my map on screen, which means you can't see it. So I'll tell you what, Eric, here's what I'll do. Let me see if I can. Nope, it's broken. Okay, here's what I'll do. Let me take a quick screenshot, and I'll put it in our notes, because that you can see. So let's see if I can paste it in the notes underneath those prompts. So right now, if you go to page 4, underneath those, let's see if it worked. Yes, it did. Okay, good, good, good. I put a screenshot on page 5 of our notes. Okay, so your categories on page 4: name, where from, currently live, what I do, interest summary, and the notes, the little mind map I created is on page 5. Okay. Sorry that, yeah. Oh, actually, you can see me now, right? My camera's working?
Nope.
No?
Still not.
No. I see you.
Okay, so the camera's working. Let me share my screen again. There we go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so now you should see the mind map, and that will help you. Okay, Eric. So, okay, what's going on now? Is my computer working or not? Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. So, Eric, let's do it. You started off well. Let's see if you could give a little context before you do your full introduction, starting with one of those expressions, well, blah, 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 and then go into the rest of the topics. Try it, Eric.
I should start by saying that although I live in Belgium, I'm not an European. I'm original from the Congo, which is located in the central part of Africa. And that's it. Is it good?
That's it? Okay.
What do you mean by context? What do you mean by context?
What you said was perfect. It was good.
Okay.
It was absolutely perfect. That's it. But don't forget, let's take a look at the other topics. Look in the chat window. We've still got name,
yeah.
currently, what?
Sorry. Thank you.
So the context was a good introduction. Sounds good.
Okay.
Now you can make an easy transition to what you do and what you're interested in.
Okay. Okay. My name is Eric Antini. I should start by stressing that although I live in Belgium, which is in Europe, I'm not a European, but I'm originally from the Congo, which is located in the central part of Africa. I'm currently I'm currently
I could also say, now look, you can use a transition here.
Okay.
I could also say, I could also point out, I could also add.
I could also add that the reason why I'm currently living in Belgium is that I've been studying here in Belgium for just under 3 years due to the exceptional level of education in Europe. My concentration.
Okay, very good, very good.
Interestingly enough, my concentration is in international taxation. Besides, I have a penchant for global affairs, especially in relation to culture and to economics. Also, I have a passion for music, particularly gospel music. In a nutshell, I would say that I'm a friendly person. Yeah, that's it.
Eric, don't forget, friendly person is good, but you mentioned many other things. So, in a nutshell, you're a friendly person, originally from the Congo, who studies tax and is interested in gospel music. I don't know. You try to leave us with the most important facts.
Okay. In a nutshell, I would conclude by.
Let's try the conclusion again.
Okay. In a nutshell, I would conclude by saying that I'm a friendly person. I'm originally from the Congo. I'm currently studying in Belgium. My concentration is taxation, and I'm really fond of music. That's it.
That's very good. Let's put that one in the document. Let me write that for you. Let me write that one for you, Eric, because it's a good ending. So what I want you to look at is, let's actually write that out on page 4. Okay, so underneath those prompts, let's do an example with Eric's conclusion. We're going to call this Eric's conclusion. Okay, and I'm going to take the things that you said. Whoops, spelling. I'm going to take the things you said and just write it for you to see. Because what we can do is we can condense it a little bit and make it a little bit smoother. Oops, why does my O look weird? There we go, conclusion. So Eric, you said, so in a nutshell, I'm a friendly person. This is what I heard. I'm a friendly person. I'm origin Congo. Is that right? I said it like that? You think you said it like that?
Yes.
I am, okay, studying, I think you said taxation or international taxation. I can't remember exactly how you said it.
It's the
In
same, yeah.
in Belgium. And I have a strong interest in, you said gospel music. I don't know if you want to say music. Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got everything correct, right? This is what you said? Whoops. Oops, sorry. Now, here's what we need to do. If that's correct, Eric, we just need to condense it a little bit to make it a little more smooth and sound like a native speaker. So here's what we need to do. Instead of having separate sentences, we need to put it all together. I'm a friendly person. Look at this. Just get rid of the I'm, and we can join the sentences together. So in a nutshell, sorry, this is a little hard to see. Let me make it bigger for you. Hold on. There we go. Hopefully it's a little easier to see. Okay, so in a nutshell, I'm a friendly person, originally from the Congo, get rid of I am, studying taxation or international taxation, however you want to say it, in Belgium. And instead of I have a strong interest in, and with a strong interest in gospel music or a strong interest in music, however you want to say it. Let's make that a little bit smaller so you can see the whole sentence. Okay? So all I did was just join it together, and look how I joined it together. I used basically the ing form, not in all cases, but basically that's what the trick. The ing form, ing, is called the gerund. Let me underline it. Studying. I can also use a preposition like with, or from. Basically, that's it. Yep, I've used one. Oh, my page keeps flipping. Hold on, let me go back. Sorry, it keeps flipping back and forth for no reason. There we go. So what I want to point out here is a way is this, to join ideas together, used the gerund, which is the ing form, or a preposition. Gerund. It's really hard to share my screen because for some reason Google Docs doesn't like screen sharing. But hopefully you can see that. I'll make it a little bit, make it blue. You can see it. Whoops. That's not good. Yellow's better. There we go. Okay, it sounds perfect. Perfect. So those friendly, Congo, taxation, gospel music. Those 4 facts are the things that we'll remember because you've summarized with those 4 facts. All right, very good. It sounds good. Here's what you can do, both Shafar and Eric. You can write out your full presentation, and I can correct it in the next class, or you can send it to me through Verbling, and I'll make sure that I correct it, just like I did on screen here, if you like.
Thank you.
Let's see. We have Anton and Alessia. Let's see if you can do something similar. We'll do it orally in class, just like Eric and Shafar did, but I'll invite you to send it to me if you want me to correct it, so that you can practice it later and have a good copy. Okay? So, again, I'm going to share my little map with you, and I want to encourage you to use the parts of the map to help you structure what you're going to say. And don't forget the topics we're going to talk about in our introduction, our self-introduction, are name, where from, currently live, what I do, interests, and then a summary based on the most important things you want people to remember. And by the way, if you want to have a copy of the map, I'll share it with you, okay? So I can just give it to you. I can give it to you as a PDF, or I can upload it to Google Docs, okay? So you'll have a copy of everything. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put a link in our shared speaking skills document, so you can always have it there. You'll see it, okay? What do you think, Anton? Want to give it a shot?
Yes, I made a photo of the screen, but it's better to share if you can.
Yeah, I'll share it with you. Don't worry. I'll share it with you. So, Anton, let's hear your introduction. I want you to do it spontaneously, okay?
Yes.
You don't have to plan it. Use this mind map to help you, and see if you can touch on all of the topics a little bit. Name, where from, currently live, what I do, and my interests, okay?
Okay, I try to make a sum. Okay, first of all, I have to make my presentation. My name is Anton. I was born in Madrid. However, now I am living in Mérida. Do you know who is Mérida? Mérida is a little town in the south of Spain with an important Roman heritage. This is important for me because I am very interested that all people could know the good things that we have in our town. What I do is
now use the transition here, Anton. Use the transition. So look at the and transitions. And I could also point out, I might also say, I should say as well, try to use a transition for the next topic.
Yes, but I can see the map is too small. If you can zoom in, I appreciate it.
1 second. Sorry, I'll make it bigger. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Zoom in. If I make it bigger, I don't know if it fits on screen.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
Can you slide to the left a little?
I'll try. It's a little hard to fit it on screen. It's a little hard.
This direction is good. More, little more.
Oops. Hold on.
Yes, it's right. Thank you. And yes, in this direction, I should take into account that it's an Europe country where I live, but my town is not a typical city in which all people around the world are thinking when they speak about Spain. You might think that, or you could think that I live in a beach country or with a lot of sun, but I don't know. I'm sure that I live in a not typical Spanish town. This is all different. And what I do is adding information and to sum up what I'm doing and what are my interests. I will also add that I am working as an engineer. I'm living in a difficult situation, as many people in Spain, because of the crisis. And I should make mention to that I'm hard working to develop my English skill in order to make a better to get a better job or something similar. And
okay, that's good. That's good. Perfect so far. Good. Now jump to the conclusion and give us, let's say, 2 or 3 things we should remember using one of those expressions. Okay, not everything, but just 2 or 3 details you should remember. So, to sum up, so to conclude, what should we remember about you, Anton?
Yes, to conclude, you can
You
can
can start
understand.
with just a simple I am. So, for
Mm,
example, I would say, so to sum up, I'm an American teacher living in
mm,
Europe who's interested in technology.
mhm.
What would you say?
To conclude, I could say that I'm a Spanish person who's working as an engineer in a little town has known as Merida, and I'm happy with my family.
Okay, good, good, good. So you can join those two things together. Instead of saying I'm a Spanish person working as an engineer, you could say I'm a Spanish engineer
Mm-hmm.
from a little historical town in Spain with a strong devotion to family. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what I want you to do is use our oral exercise today as a model, as a basis, to write this out as a text. And that way I can correct you. Okay? It sounds good. It sounds pretty good. Maybe what I would do is just leave out the details about your hometown because you can come back to them later. So in the introduction, when you're just saying who you are, mention that it's an historical place, no problem. But leave out the details because later you may be able to pick them up. What I'm trying to say is that you've set up the idea. So it would be something that naturally people would ask about because you've piqued their interest. So I wouldn't go into too much detail in the beginning. But other than that, it sounded really good. We're going to run out of time, but I want to give Alessia a chance to do an introduction as well. But
Okay.
Alessia, you've only got about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Want to try it now?
I'm trying. I
Or,
try to,
yeah, okay.
to
So,
be fast. My name is first of all, and just to start, my name is Alessia, but for everybody, I'm Ale. I come from Italy, and my city is a historical city in Italia, where, for example, lived Leonardo da Vinci. Currently, I'm staying in Dublin, and I'm here to study English and preparing for a big jump in USA.
I should also mention that I'm currently staying in Dublin. So there you could use a transition. I could also mention that although I'm from Italy, I'm currently living in Dublin, where I'm doing X, Y, and Z. So that would be a good place to add a transition, Alessia.
Okay, and
Clear? Yeah.
I would like to preparing myself for a big jump in the USA, and I was being an accountant and a seller, but now I am a web designer. I am very interesting about software and for design and industrial design, and give me a moment to sum up. I wanna go to the USA, San Francisco, to learn to use software for a 3D print, and that's all.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So you got two good advantages there. One, your 3D printing. You could be part of the space program because they're going to use 3D printers on the future space missions. And two, you could work at Verbling. That's where Verbling is in San Francisco. What do you think?
I know.
You design 3D printers for Verbling. We can 3D print the grammar. I don't know.
Yeah, I know that Verbling was made from some friends, and I know it's in San Francisco because my partner
in Silicon Valley,
a software engineer, so you have many link with this kind of people.
Yep, and you've got a lot of web designers and graphic designers and all those people out there in
Yeah,
Silicon Valley as well.
I know.
Okay, very good. So listen, here's the plan, everyone. Take what we did today. We didn't get a chance to use the pictures, but that's okay, because I think your introduction is something you should work on. You're going to turn your introduction into a little monologue, basically, just like you did today. So what I want you to do is take what you've done today. I'm going to put a link to the map in our speaking skills document so you can see it at home. Okay, I'll put a link there later today. And then I'll send that link to you through Verbling, through the message system. You send me back a text, which is the written version of what you said in class, and I'll correct it for you. And you tell me, I'm planning to do these classes every Wednesday at 10 London time, 11 Central European time. If that's okay, then I'll see you next week, and we'll do the next part of the class. If there's a lot of interest, I can do it twice a week because it takes time to speak. So I could do it Mondays and Wednesdays because I'm not sure what to do on Mondays yet. So that might be another possibility, okay? But send me your writing, I'll correct it, and I'll send it back to you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I'm going to be back in exactly 1 minute to start the business class, so stick around for that if you like. I'm going to end this now. Don't forget to follow me on Verbling by going to my profile and clicking follow, and it's a little easier for me to find you that way, okay? Bye for now, everyone. See you soon.
Bye. See you
Sorry
soon.
to cut you off, Raphael, but come back to the business class and we'll talk then.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.